Welcome back to State of the Nation. We have indeed observed that 1 minute of silence for Bishop Amakri. But abuse of electoral systems will continue if Electoral Act is not amended. This is the view agreed by many in the aftermath of the 2019 general elections. The INEC chairman himself, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, for one, has tasked lawmakers to elect, of course, to address the bottlenecks in the electoral process with enabling laws. Experts also say that the Electoral Act should be given utmost attention, saying there are several areas where the National Assembly can help improve governance. Having said that, Honorable Orkejev, beginning from reviewing the process that brought many of you as lawmakers and even governors with some states inconclusive, River State, for instance, still hangs in the balance with hardly a word from INEC. What's the thinking of the legislators at this time?
I keep insisting that what I'm saying here are entirely my views because we have not sat together to determine how things should look like. By the way, we have not yet been inaugurated into the 9th Assembly. But personally, I would say that some of those things that came up, like the inconclusive election thing, for me, I faulted it in several instances. It was a reading of the extant laws, in some instances faulty, if you ask me, because the Constitution is the ground norm of our body of laws, and it states when somebody can be declared a winner of an election. And in some instances, you find those prevailing, and yet the INEC would rule or would determine that the elections were inconclusive. And then you have similar facts prevailing in other instances, and they will go ahead and announce winners of such elections. So, in my opinion, something will just have to be done to ensure that we don't have this kind of thing happening in future elections. You know that it wasted time, it wasted resources, and at times risked lives going for, because most of the rerun elections came with a lot of tension. And so if we could avoid it, we should have avoided it. And in my opinion, I think if we read the law the way it's supposed to be read, especially the Constitution, there was no point for rerun in several of those instances.
Okay, while we hope that the 9th Assembly will put some of this in perspective, since you cannot speak too much about that now, saying that you've not been inaugurated at the moment, but that's understandable. But Bishop Amakri, I did ask you earlier that mentioning the three parties in the Senate will today include your party, the YPP. But what are your views to the notion that politicians will do all it takes in their powers to dig out or discover, if you will, loopholes in the electoral process and subvert it, even if the 9th Assembly should have those amendments to the Electoral Act?
Yeah, Gembo Umar, a lot is required to be corrected, in the National Assembly. And of course, we all know that we have been going back and forth, I must confess to you. And that's why, at the moment, a lot of Nigerians are really yearning for something new, something bold, and something different. And this is, a kind of a new dawn to Nigerian, that you can see some new faces coming, into the business of leadership now. And I think what we have been lacking in Nigeria over years, sincerely speaking, is leadership. There have been leadership deficit. And by the time the 9th Assembly, is being inaugurated, I can assure you that the YPP is going to be a shining light in that National Assembly, because we know who we have there. He is not going to deviate from the policies of the party. He's somebody whom also is very, very eager to see how he can showcase himself. And don't forget that he's not just representing, himself alone. He's representing his constituencies. He's also representing a lot of young people, not just only young people, but progressive, like-minded people in this country who have been yearning for this paradigm shift and, a growth, in societal development. So I can assure you that by the special grace of God, the Ninth Assembly is going to be an interesting one because the YPP is going to make significant impact. I mean, anything that has to do with a kind of constitutional matter, or if, you know, parliament responsibility. We have a very, very competent person in the National Assembly, in the Senate in particular, whom I know that is going to represent our party and the people of Nigeria, not just his constituency, but the people of Nigeria.
If I may just if I may button, you are the chairman of your party. Are you holding to your chest very closely who you will support as the Senate President?
Whom we are going to support for the Senate President?
Yes.
Look, you see, for me, I always go with competence, and the track record is there. You know, history speaks for itself. And I think that the business of the parliament should just be left alone with the parliamentarians. And we've heard several times the APC is talking about, because maybe they have the majority, like as they say, they have the majority, and they think that, so that should be a panacea to the APC. Anybody they endorse, like they say that they have just endorsed Lawan, the man from Yobe, from the northeast part of this country, to be the next Senate President. And I think I do not really agree with that. What I think we should be looking at, we should bring on the table people of competence. I am not actually undermining the competency of Lawan, but I'm saying that if we're talking about nation building or one Nigeria, if we're even to go by what people have been advocating for, the president is from the northwest of the country, the vice president is from the southwest, and some people also are now saying that the Senate president should go to the southeast of the country. But like I said, the business of the parliament should be left for the parliamentarians alone to choose whoever they want. You don't just impose someone on people who have their own. Don't forget, we have three arms of government. The executive should not continue to be prognosing into the affairs of the parliament. They know what they suffered, in the last 3 or 4 years, ago. Now, so they should not be delving into issues that bothers the parliament, and then think that they want to, this syndrome of winner, carry all. I think it's going to affect the APC if they don't take care, with how they are going by that.
Let me get the thoughts of Emmanuel. Just a minute. Let me get the thoughts of Emmanuel Okejev. Are you on the same page with him?
Well, you see, my take is that you cannot do the same thing and expect a different result. If in 2015 this kind of scenario came up and we're bringing it up again and we expect a different result, it will be unfortunate. I think I agree with him when he says that those who have been elected are mature enough, they are competent enough to determine who should who should preside over their affairs. That is not to say the party may not be interested. If the party is interested, it should not be something for the headlines like we saw a few days back. Because the moment you do that, you certainly offend sensibilities. And I mean, others are not there to. The leader of the Senate, when I say the leader, the presiding officer of the Senate and of the House of Representatives are presiding over the National Assembly of Nigeria, not of a particular party. So when you too much make it a party affair, I think that is a serious mistake.
Okay, what would your take be then? Are you also holding very close to your chest if your party has a card to play, if you will? I'm getting the information that my director is telling me that we cannot continue on this note anymore. But I must thank you so much indeed. Emmanuel Okejev, Chairman House, that will be House Committee on the FCT, but he's now moving to the Senate and perhaps have a new portfolio. And Bishop Amakri, Chairman of the Young Progressive Party. Thank you both for talking to us on State of the Nation. And also thanks to you for being a part of the show. Many thanks. I am Gimba Umar, and this is State of the Nation. See you next time.